So I've just launched my spider, and also here I have just save the file name as functions.py in a desired location. You can just save it. So let us see about functions. Okay, so let us do function definition. So here we'll define very pretty basic function over here. So we'll be doing something a function for greeting. Okay, so maybe I'll call it as define. So first ever thing is you need to use the keyword def for definition. So define, maybe I want to greet. Okay, so greet. So again, notice that whenever you're declaring a function, it is changing into kind of cyan color over here or tail color. Okay, so here you can greet. So let me just give colon and give print hi there. Okay, so you can give hi there. So this is just a basic function. So let me just save this and execute. So nothing happens. Okay, but if at all I call greet function, so if you tell greet, it is not a like, it is telling it is a function. Okay, so you need open parenthesis and close parenthesis. So it is telling hi there. Okay, now I can send a name also. So name. Okay, and hi there, again name can be after name, it has to be a string itself, else we'll be getting an error. So instead of passing a proper string, if we pass something else, it should not give an error. So here to avoid it, I'm using a comma instead of a plus for concatenation. Okay, so if I tell greet Adam. Okay, so maybe I want to use this as string. Okay, so here telling greet Adam. Oh, okay, I have not executed this, so I should save this and execute it. So now my function is updated. Okay, so on to my console. So let us try the same thing, greet Adam. So now you can see hi there Adam. Okay, so maybe sometimes I'm not passing any kind of arguments. Okay, so I am just sending greet. Okay, so here it is telling missing one positional argument. Okay, so that is the issue. So that's why we'll be using a default value. Okay, so here I can tell hi there maybe user. So an user will be using this function, so that's why I'll tell. So let me just execute that, and I can see over here. So I'll just call it as greet. Okay, just greet with no arguments. So if I tell, it is telling hi there user. So if I tell greet name equal to, I can do in this way also, Adam. Okay, so it is saying hi there Adam. So here I'm assigning the positional argument or whatever argument I'm using over here. Okay, so if at all you have multiple and you don't want to use few things, maybe I want to repeat. Okay, so repeat, I don't want to repeat multiple times. Okay, so I'll just give as repeat equal to 0. So here maybe it should repeat only once or twice. Okay, so you can consider in those scenarios maybe once or twice. Okay, so I don't want to repeat it, so I'll just keep it as 0 itself. So here I can have a for loop for repeat maybe I in range repeat. So here it should be an integer type for that condition. Okay, so I can just pass this repeat. Okay, so for I in range 0 doesn't make sense, so we'll just increase by 1. Okay, so if I just pass greet Adam, so it will be greeting me twice. So if I want to pass 2 times, or maybe I'll just remove this name, and I will also pass a number. Okay, so repeat twice. So here it is telling, okay, I'm not saved it and run it, so apologies. Save and run. So let us execute that. So here it is repeating thrice. Okay, so basically if it is 0, then I should not repeat it. So maybe I'll just remove this. So if I'm telling twice, it will be running twice. So let me just run this and execute greet Adam twice. Okay, so here I can jumble it. Okay, so I will tell 2 is equal to 2 comma Adam. So here it is telling it is expecting some kind of string, but we are getting some kind of integer over here. Okay, so this is the way how you can use names for it. So I'll just remove this repeat. So we don't need, and maybe okay, let it be there. So here next thing is comments. Okay, so before this default values, we had already seen comments, right? So here 3 inverted commas. So then I can use see here it is telling generate doc string. So automatically if I click this, So it is telling what are the parameters, what are the names. So it is already telling repeat name. Okay. So here it should be a string str. So here it should be int. Okay. So I'm telling, and both are optionals. Yes, because we have default values for this. Okay. So we don't have like default values are declared. So that's why it is directly generated as optional. So this has actually generated by our spider automatically. So usually you don't find this in many other text editors. Okay, so our spider has done a really good job. So it has just got what are the arguments which you are using and also the default values and telling whether it is optional. So if at all we have a default value, definitely it will be an optional. Okay, so here let me just execute this. And how will we check our doc string? So I just want to know what does my greet do. So if I just run greet, so it is telling it is not returning anything over here. So since I have given repeat is equal to 0, by default it is not going to repeat now. Okay. So maybe if you can have a condition over here, repeat is greater than 0 or something like that. Okay. So maybe you can have a if condition. If repeat equal to 0, if repeat double equal to 0, I think you are understanding the point. If repeat double equal to 0, you can define something. But here I'm interested with respect to the doc string, what exactly it is. So what I will be using is greet. uh, so for doc string we'll be using dot underscore underscore doc doc underscore underscore. Okay, if you give enter, so here it is printing with respect to this. So again here it is getting all the carriage return. So to print it properly, we'll use print statement and then greet dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. Okay, so this underscore underscore is kind of like repetitive in Python. So once you go with advanced stuff, you will understand it better. So basically there are so many again inbuilt functions. So this is kind of inbuilt functions which are defined for our uh, functions. Okay, so here you can see in the nice way it is telling what exactly does my function do. So maybe you are trying to use a function which has been created by someone else, but you are just interested with what are the arguments you need to pass and what is the final outcome, and also if at all it returns any value. Okay, so that is with respect to greet function. So let me just comment this out. Okay, so again here we are using the similar values, right? So again these are getting added. Okay, I'll presently remove these so that it's interrupting. So I hope you are understanding what we are doing with over here. So basically I just want to create another function so to show you how exactly return value works. Okay, so maybe I want to define a function, define square. Okay, square of a number, sqr, sq, maybe I'll tell square only, square of a number. Okay, square in something like that. Okay, so here I'll be expecting a value x and it should not be optional. Okay, so I'm not giving any default values. So x, so here what I will be doing is return x to the power of 2. So how will we write to the power? So it is we'll be using a double this one. Okay, so square n. So let me just save that, execute it. So here let me just run square first, square underscore n. So here it is telling function. So obviously we need open brackets and close brackets, and here it is telling, and this one is missing. Okay, so maybe I don't have what exactly it is. So I'll just define a doc string. So generate a doc string parameter. So it has created a nice little skeleton code for us over here. What exactly it is telling? So integer, and what exactly it returns is square of the input. Okay. And here this is also an integer. Maybe you can expect a float type also. So here we are just using that. So maybe I don't want to describe anything. So you're just telling the square of a number. Maybe you can squares the input. So I'll just put it over here. Okay, so something like this. Again, it is of your choice how exactly to write. Okay, so input, this one should be returning a value. So here if I tell maybe if I execute over here, I'll be getting the value here itself. So let us see how exactly we can use over here. So I'll call it as square underscore n of 2. Okay, so I am expecting 4 to be result. Okay, so if I run this, nothing happens. And if I want to, I can save it as maybe I want to give a result. Okay, so result is a variable which I am storing the value. So result, then print result. Okay, so basically this return function is returning some kind of value. Over here in our case, with respect to this particular function, it is returning us an integer. Okay, so this integer will be saved in result. So that's how we are assigning, and we are printing result. Okay, so let us execute that, and here you can see 4 is printed. It need not to be like saving in a result only. So maybe I'll just eliminate this, cut this, and put this in the print statement itself. So even this way it can be done, and you can see 4 is printed. So maybe you wanna execute something else. So square of maybe I wanna execute for 4. So you can see 4 is executed. Okay, so again, if you wanna get square root, if you are going with some kind of looping, so over there you need to specify a range, something like that. So but here anytime you can call this, right? So you can anytime call this and get a square of a number. Okay, so similarly you can create a lot of functions which will be doing a certain number of tasks, or executing or evaluating certain expressions, and finally returning you some values, or might not return values also. It might be like just printing out with respect to in this way how we did with respect to the greet function. Over there we were doing greet function, right? So that's how we can do with respect to functions. Okay, so again with respect to functions, when it comes to projects, we'll be working on 1 or 2 functions to understand better. So I hope you have got the fundamental idea how exactly the functions work.